How is it that he's a villain? How are we a villain if some of these vaccine creators and scientists are the ones saying we should not get?
Is there anything I could say today that would change your mind?
I'm just asking your opinion.
I'm asking you a question.
Probably not, because I actually read and study.
Well, if I can't change your mind,
I just want to know your opinion.
Yeah, so I would like to give you my knowledge, my experience, and what I've seen in the hospital system. But if you're telling me right now, no matter what I say, you're not going to change your mind, is there any value to that?
Right then and there, Jubilee should have cut this off and kicked this woman off the stage. She's so pretentious that she can't even see it. Jubilee is back at it with another slop video where there are no attempts at any conclusion making being done. There's no middle ground being met, and there's no real conversation being had. The once fabled media network station has once again brought on a bunch of people who are not here to debate, but more so here to give off I got you moments or perpetuate their stories and honestly defunct and disable the people who are experts in these conversations in any attempt to give any sort of light or have any real conversation to progress towards what they sometimes call a middle ground. I thought this was as bad as it gets. I mean, we have somebody who is saying that she actually reads in a conversation to a medical doctor, somebody who's been to school for years upon years. Dr. Mike isn't just some social media phenomenon. He's actually licensed, actually accredited, and actually studied. So to say that I actually read in comparison to what somebody else who's a doctor is just so numbskull-like. One of the themes in this video is that it's not necessarily about having a full-blown conversation with Dr. Mike. It's not about coming to some sort of, conclusion that would help further my side or your side of the argument. But because this is the new era or new age of debate bro content, it is more so about proving the fact that I can put you in a I got you moment. Not necessarily having real conversation, but trying to pin you up against the wall and have you say something that might be stupid.
So if we look at Facebook, Google, YouTube, they suppressed so many anti-vax posts, legitimate declarations of they were injured, serious deaths. ABC News went on Facebook and they posted a simple question. Who do you know or yourself that was seriously injured from the vaccine? Over 200,000 comments that were then removed by Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg just went on Joe Rogan and he said that Joe Biden, the Biden administration, forced them to censor people. So if someone really believes in their product, why would they do mass censorship to hide it?
I'm a family medicine doctor. I have no idea why they're censoring certain websites or not censoring certain websites. So that's outside of my scope. Last that I checked, no doctor removes patient bad reviews. No doctor goes on and hides comments. I mean, maybe they do it on an individual level, but not on a systemic level.
The prompt of that question was that RFK Jr. is a public health threat. Now, everyone else who came up had some sort of response or some sort of attack to that same exact talking point, the prompt that was at hand. But this person decided to come up to the stage and try to get him caught up in some political, nonsensical X, Y, and Z. And even after Dr. Mike says to him, yo, I practice family medicine. I put tongue depressors on people's throats. Like, I don't know anything about why Facebook would do something or why Instagram or I don't know anything about that. He still continues to try to go down this rabbit hole. It's not about reaching some sort of conclusion, but to try to get off this embarrassing I got you moment in order to attempt to get some sort of win or some sort of gain. Now, ultimately, it all fell flat on its face, but what purpose does this serve, and why would Jubilee continuously have this specific guy on multiple different episodes of Versus 20? Like, he does this every single episode and it falls flat every single time. One thing I will say about Dr. Mike is that he stays relatively calm in the presence of all this nonsense that's being heard. And whether I believe in the rhetoric or not is not necessarily my main issue. It's the fact that the way that these people debate is generally so stupid. Now, I will admit, this has not been the screaming match like other Jubilee episodes have been.
Are you anti-female?
Half the time I am, okay?
But
what I'm saying right now, I'm very honest. But what I'm saying, yes, I am honest, which is why I'm saying that
Sweetie,
if this happened,
can I ask you another question?
I didn't even answer your first question.
The 34 felonies that they changed the statute of limitations in order to prosecute him.
Oh,
that they
no,
changed.
You have your cases confused. So they didn't change any statute of
Oh,
limitations?
yes, they did.
1 second.
Oh, yes,
I know what
they
you're
did.
referencing. If you'll just allow me.
Yes, they did.
You'll just allow me.
But
30
not only
you mind if I
that-
just have 30 seconds?
Well, we only have 40 seconds left.
I just
so
want
no,
to clarify.
You can't have
They didn't
30
change.
seconds. You've got the seat the whole time.
Okay, we have 35 seconds left. What were his felonies for?
Kamala Harris, first and foremost, there are a lot of criticisms that you can give to her on why she wouldn't be an effective president. It shouldn't be because she's a woman or because she's black. And it seems to be that you're saying that.
No, I just want people to understand and agree she didn't earn this.
She absolutely did. She has a career where she's been not only a DA,
DEI stands for
one of the biggest.
Didn't earn it, just so we're clear.
But like it stands for diversity, equity, inclusion. I like the meme though.
But just because they're not arguing or talking over each other does not make this any more brain slop than it already is. These are serious topics. You would think that you would have people who could give serious conversations, serious debates, and and I don't know, have a lick of knowledge brought to the table. But in this specific interaction, Dr. Mike has the most monotone response because the conversation is so brain dead as to why this guy can't understand what 100% means. I almost had to close my laptop and throw it on the ground because I could not watch this anymore.
So what would be an example of the misinformation that you're referring to?
Like that vaccines cause autism.
So they don't cause autism, you're saying?
Correct.
At all?
Correct.
Well, that's news to me. Okay, what about death? Doesn't the vaccine save lives?
Correct. It lowers the death rate. It doesn't prevent it 100%.
Okay, so why are people dying?
Because it's not 100%.
But reality is, majority of the people who were dying were vaccinated people.
Correct, because most people were vaccinated.
There has to be something done about the literacy rate in the United States. I mean, it just is growing ever so rapidly, and it's just being portrayed on mainstream media now. Like, this is actually disgusting. Does Jubilee not vet some of these people? Like, do they not sit down and have them answer questions about themselves or their lives, or make them take some sort of written test? Jubilee should have those people read a paragraph and answer some questions to understand their comprehension skills, or maybe their reading level, or I don't know, because I know the average American still reads on like a 5th or 6th grade level. So they're getting average Americans who are reading Facebook posts onto these platforms who not only give bad faith arguments, but don't even understand that they are saying stuff that is stupid as hell. It would be a different conversation if these people had their talking point, then heard Dr. Mike's talking point, and then said, oh, well, you know what? I understand that this potentially negates my talking point or whatever. But quite often when I watch these episodes of Middle Ground or any other Jubilee publication, these people purposefully and intentionally speed past talking points that honestly debunk everything that they stand on without admitting that they were wrong or having some sort of accountability to what was just presented in front of them.
They forced me to, or they tried to force me to get vaccines all the way through my pregnancy. Why do we want to vaccinate newborns with Hep B? What are they? Are they having anal sex and intravenous needles or getting tattoos in utero? My son wasn't.
Well, Hep B is not just spread by all those things that you mentioned.
Right.
But there's children that get it from sharing food utensils, biting one another in preschool.
But newborn, doctor? I mean, you have to understand, newborn, like my son.
They go to daycare where there's a lot of other children that.
Right, but not in the first few hours of life. Like the best thing they need is breast milk, and like for me to like be forced. Feel like I was forced to do that. Anyways, I went almost a year.
Well, were you forced?
I wasn't, but they did try to force me. They make you feel like you're a terrible mom. I refused all the vaccines while pregnant, and then I was already on welfare, so it made me feel, they didn't make me feel, I chose to feel like I was the villain when they were vilifying me.
Trying to appeal to the emotion of the viewer instead of staying with the logic and facts and, you know, actual scenarios that happen, you know, playing up the situation. And then once met with the actual question at hand that needed to be answered of, well, did they actually force you? And having to admit in a slight way no, but brushing past it makes these conversations make me want to pull my hair out. Now, at least that time, the woman in question did allow Dr. Mike to get a word in or two, and the audience did as well. But oftentimes when I was watching this video, or come to think of it, any other video, when they start to get into some sort of heated debate or some sort of conversation that actually has substance or could actually be swaying somebody the other way or in a different direction, it seems that the people in the circle start to raise their flags as if they don't want this person to lose the battle. And again, I don't think that there's losing or winning a battle. It's about having a productive conversation. I can even remember one time where Charlie Kirk was starting to really get onto somebody. He was starting to make good points, and whether you believe Charlie Kirk can make good points or bad points, it was the fact that he was making points that kind of refuted the narrative of the person sitting across from him. And instead of letting the person across from him have to sit in that and concede the fact that he is wrong, or maybe his beliefs just changed, or he never thought of something that way, the people around them started to raise their flags in order to get him out the fire. And the same thing happened in this Dr. Mike video. There was a woman who went on a long monologue about something about Jesus or something like that.
God gave us everything that we needed. The reality is, if we don't get vaccinated with Jesus, we will face God on Judgment Day. It's not just about health. It's about freedom of speech. It's about the government's trying to kill us. Even Bill Gates had, I think it was kind of like a TED Talk, but he had like, a talk where he said, we need to get the population down and we're gonna do a great job of it. And you know how? through improving vaccines because we're going to lower the population that way. And you can find it.
Pause. You've been voted out. Please return to your seat.
Yeah, I know, nutso, right? But instead of having to sit in that and have to be debated back by, Dr. Mike, they voted her off. Why? Because they knew that she had no real leg to stand on. And even if they disagreed with the points, she should still have to be held accountable for the nonsense that she is potentially spreading right there. One of my biggest issues with Jubilee, the platform, is that they have seemingly gone away from the days of bringing on the everyday person to leaning into content creators. Now, I think Dr. Mike sits at a very interesting crossroad where he actually has the profession of being a doctor, certified, practicing, all that stuff like that, continuously practicing as he is making his YouTube channel. But what I'm specifically talking about is these people that come up onto these panels and onto stages and stuff like that. No, they are not just your run-of-the-mill anti-vaxxer. A good majority, I would say 90% of the time, those people that are in that audience have some sort of YouTube channel, have some sort of Twitter page, have some sort of TikTok page, or on different platforms. I mean, that one guy who tried to do the I got you moment is literally a part of the Whatever podcast. The woman who was screaming Jesus has a YouTube channel. That other kid on there that's always on there with the weird hair and he looks like he's about to take a bite out of a table every single time has a TikTok page in which he's trying to go viral. I'm starting to believe that these people have no good intentions when it comes to actually having civilized conversations or, come to resolutions, but rather get their YouTube content off. And hey, I'm all for getting the YouTube content off as a YouTube content creator myself, but my problem is that these are serious topics. These are serious matters. And if Jubilee wants to paint themselves as some sort of serious publication or media outlet, you can't fucking let these weirdos get up there and try to push this message. I wonder how far they would go. And, my bad. We've already seen Myron on one of the episodes, for Pete's sake. I know how far they would go. Jubilee has lost any credibility that it's had. And I think this anti-vaxxer situation is one of the biggest nails in the coffin. The fact that people expect any sort of real conversation from Jubilee anymore is a fault of their own. They're no smarter than the people that are on the platform spewing this bullshit ass content.